So this is kind of Chris asking him about CrossFit's North Star here.
I want to start with this. Like, what do you see now as CrossFit's North Star? Obviously, there's a lot of knots to be retied, a lot of knots to be untied. Where do you start?
Yeah, I think you start with what's the problem? Like, what's the problem I'm seeing? And being here the last few days has been great because I've got to meet a lot of people. And the question I generally ask is, what's your advice for me? And the reason I ask that is because it defines the problem. I don't think CrossFit has a demand problem. I think CrossFit has a perception problem. And I think when you're really clear that that's the challenge and the opportunity, and we'll talk more about that as we get in, or I will at least, I think that is really important. So the methodology works. The communities around the affiliates work incredibly well. And we just have to focus on the other parts. You said something that was really poignant this morning that I think is really important is the strongest place, or I'm going to misquote it, but the community is one of the strongest or the most important things. The CrossFit community, your gym, is one of the most important things in your community. And man, if that's not a truth, I don't know what is. And so when I think about the challenge for CrossFit, it's not that's an incredibly successful model in its variations. It's just a perception issue. So our North Star is we teach people how to do hard things. And if that's what you're into doing, and that's what the company's focus, I think we'll do really great things.
Okay. So a lot of you guys too that might be really big into like the Forging Elite Fitness, and like it's not supposed to be watered down for the everyday user. Like you're coming in, you're stepping into a challenge, and CrossFit's hard, but you're here with coaches that are going to guide you, that are going to set you up for success. And Bruce kind of reinstated that we do hard things and we teach people how to do hard things here with CrossFit. So I think that, to me, that seems like a really good place to start with limited information right now. I want that to be developed on. I don't want this just to continuously be a buzzword of like, well, we show people how to do hard things. Like, what does that mean? Like, let's like define what is hard things. Like, what is that? Is it the movements that we teach? Is it the workouts in and of themselves? Is it around the lifestyle changes that needs to come in? And I think that that's where the opportunity presents itself around media, because if we're constantly in the forefront and focusing around educating people on health and fitness and being the expertise in the exercise science realm and talking constantly about professionalization of the coaches, of the trainer, because we're not shying away from complex movements like snatches and cleans or higher skill gymnastics, we're not watering it down for you. We're being able to meet you where you are at, and then build that up over time. And that sense of accomplishment is something that is unique to the movements that we teach. It's unique to CrossFit. And it's something that if we shy away from, we're just becoming another Me Too fitness per brand. And so I'm very happy that Bruce is kind of like stating it in that way. I think he was using his words very carefully when he was saying like, we teach people how to do hard things. So he goes on to talk a little bit about content here. I'm going to pull that forward. I lightweight feel like a little rushed, you know what I mean? Like a little, because of Peter's over there with James. I should just send him a link. Cody, Susie, you were the best speaker at the summit. Question: how did you get involved with the fire department in your town? Also, what do you do for them? Thanks, Cody. I really appreciate that. Glad you enjoyed the talk. So hold that thought. I will circle back down to that question. Grant, what's up, dude? Good points earlier. I think I agree with it all. Awesome. Yeah. I mean, and like I said, there was there was stuff that you had talked about that kind of came to mind too, that I should have delineated against the mindset versus attacking the girls, because the attacking of the girls was definitely not my intention there in any way whatsoever. Okay, so let's bring old Bruce and Chris back on the stage. You know what, for me too, this is kind of like this is like almost like a coming to Jesus moment a little bit. You know, I got Chris Cooper. I was able to speak on at the Two Brain Business Summit. I was able to be on the same stage as Mike Mikowitz, who wrote Profit First, which is one of the first books that I dove into in terms of finance and organizing everything and saving my ass from, you know, going bankrupt. And then on top of that, we have Bruce, the new CEO, being introduced all on the same stage, all on the same weekend. Damn, fired up. Okay. 1 year later, I hate them. No, I'm just kidding.
And that's the second time you've brought up media storytelling messaging. So I think it's a good time to get into that. It is often hard when you have a founder who's as brilliant as Greg Glassman was to kind of translate that high level knowledge into a story that people embrace and understand. And maybe part of that forging elite fitness is hard to translate. How do you foresee in the next few years using media, building media to do that?
Yeah, I think media is really, really critical, and it's the voices. And today it's everything. And there's multiple channels, and depending on your demographic and your age, you know, you have to actually morph and deliver on every level. And that's a big challenge for us. You know, Gen Z is a huge opportunity, and a lot of CrossFit affiliates and candidate functional training facilities are getting older. And yet we have a generation that's incredibly into health and fitness. So there's some amazing opportunities there. But I think being very focused on what we need to deliver is number one. And I think that starts to change the lens. The other thing is that, and this is to everybody in the room, whether you're a CrossFit affiliate or not, because we're all making the world a better place. Every time you do that and you tell those stories and you bring more people in, you create an opportunity for people. And one of the things I've studied a lot is the amount of the world that's desperately sick of being sick. And, you know, an interesting thing that I've spent a lot of time looking at is GLP-1s. And a lot of people are controversially or divided in fitness about GLP-1s. Oh, they're evil. They're a shortcut. I have a very different view. I think they're a portal for people to change their lives.
Okay, so I'll pause it there, and then we could talk about the stuff that he said about the GLP-1s if you guys are interested in that at all, which is basically just like, hey, don't like completely vilify people that are doing that, because those could be potential customers because they're taking that to hopefully make the lifestyle change. Same kind of thing that I talked about that almost a while back ago, just like don't immediately go to hating anybody that's on the GLP-1s, because you have tools and solutions for them. And if they're taking that step, then you might as well bring them in and embrace them rather than just vilify the option they chose there. Okay, so the media portion about for me, what he said is like, we need to be focused on like what we're actually delivering. And they talked a little bit about Gen Z. And in the conversation that I actually had with Bruce, which was focused around this a little bit, he had posed a question to me about like, hey, well, what does that media look like to you? And I said, if I had to wave a magic wand and had all the resources at my disposal, what would I do? And he pretty much said, yeah. And I said, okay, I'd build out a studio. I would have a podcast room in that. I would have an editing bay right inside of it as well, where people actually showed up to work. I would hire a bunch of clippers. Those are people that clip out all the small little TikTok and Instagram highlights that you see. And I would want a budget for some guests for either travel or high profile people if I had to pay them to get into the room. And then I would just start down a list of people that are in the exercise, health, and fitness realm. And I would literally just bring them in and do long form podcasts. And in real time, as those podcasts were going, people will be pulling sub clips out of that, posting them onto YouTube, and then also taking refined clips of that and posting them across TikTok and across Instagram, and then also packaging those clips up for the media platforms that they're on. And I go, you would be able to do one long form, let's say like an hour long or an hour and 20 long, and brought an Andrew Huberman type in, Rhonda Patrick, I would have even done the whole Liver King thing early and kind of really been like, so you're all natural, huh, buddy? You used to do CrossFit, right? So like being able to bring those type of high profile people into the space, talk to them about CrossFit, get them in the conversation, and then kind of widen it to the whole entire talk about like wellness and preventative healthcare and fitness in general, and then utilize those associations, whether they're somebody like contentious like a Liver King type, or whether it's somebody who's more of like seen as like an expert in the space like an Andrew Huberman, and a ton of the people in between, to talk about what we do and to utilize that to gather a bunch of attention and eyeballs. Then I told them the second biggest thing is that you need some place for those people to land. So what I mean by that is once you get in, you're going to have, let's say we got 100,000 people that watched my interview with Rhonda Patrick, where we spoke directly around CrossFit and what she was doing and all this stuff. Then her audience goes, okay, cool. We want to learn more about CrossFit. Well, right now, if they go to CrossFit.com, it's like a lead gen Me Too website. And I told Bruce that if you're going to focus on the education piece of it, and we're going to focus on professionalizing the trainer, then you need to be able to bring that person to a website that is going to continue that journey for them. In the past, this was the CrossFit Journal. So you would go there, you would maybe see a piece of media, you would go to CrossFit.com, you'd be bombarded with all the certs immediately. Like, here's all the seminars, here's what's happening, here's all the subject matter experts that you could go and visit and learn from. And then here is the CrossFit Journal. And to me, that is the most important thing for them to land on, is being able to continue their education process with CrossFit. Now, even if they come in through the Rhonda Patrick interview, they go to the website and then they go immediately to a subject matter expert. Like back in the day, this would have been like Louis Simmons with like Conjugate Method or Westside Barbell or something like that. Now, all of a sudden, we're still hosting the party. And that's the important part, is like giving certain subject matter experts that are great in what they do, great within their realms of what they teach, and then hosting them. So that way those audience comes in, we continue to get that association, we move them to the CrossFit Journal where they're still educating themselves. Then hopefully they go, man, I'm so fired up about this. Like, I want to get more involved. I want to go take my L1. Then they take their L1, and then a smaller percentage of those people will go on to open up CrossFit affiliates. So that's the way that I see everything connecting, where you have this entertainment factor with the media. We're getting high profile things. Not all the conversations in media would be focused around like serious education. Like some of it would be some entertainment stuff as well. The games kind of falls under that category a little bit. And then we move them into the CrossFit.com where they can continue to educate themselves, where hopefully they go to a seminar where then hopefully a certain percentage of them become affiliate owners. Like that's, if I was in charge of HQ, that's kind of the funnel that I would go with. And yeah, that's Dr. Matthew Murphy. Gen Z doesn't watch podcast clips. They mostly more apt to watch clips of their peers doing movements or comps or memes and get CrossFit in anime. Yeah, so that's another strategy too. That's why you got to package it for each demographic. You got to package it for each platform. But the big thing too is like when you're creating media, you first need to have a North Star of like, what's the point of this? And I talked about this a while back, which is like, what is the point of it? Is it like just a commercial to go right from, you're seeing this for the first time, go take your L1? Nobody's going to do. They're not problem aware. They don't know what they'd benefit from it. They don't even know if they want to be a CrossFit coach. Like, you can't just go right into that. So the way that I see it is that we need to be able to know where we're moving this audience and what journey we're taking them on first. Then we could start attacking like specific demographics in terms of, you know, how we present that media, who we present it to, and how we package it for each platform. And again, this is just kind of spitballing off the top of my head in terms of like, again, it was an on the spot question. And obviously I've thought a little bit more about it, but I just wanted to give you guys kind of like relay it as it was in real time. Because I think that that's the biggest hole we can fill right now in terms of what Bruce was talking about. There's a perception problem with CrossFit. Well, yeah, because people aren't educated on it. Like, we left behind, speaking about the methodology, we left behind the efficacy of the program. We left behind our claim to say that there is no better general prepared fitness program out there. Like, there's just not. So once we leave that behind, we start to usher in everybody else kind of controlling that narrative, whether it's around the whole entire like CrossFit's going to hurt you, you're going to do whatever the case may be. And there's no other media that's going to persuade people away from that. There's no other associations with people in the space that are going to talk about that. You're going to be like, huh, is CrossFit going to hurt me? Then you go and you look at the media and it's just like Hopper crushing out bar muscle up shirtless. It's like, yeah, there's no way anybody even relates to that, let alone dispels some of the objections and perceptions that typically come in around CrossFit. So I like where he's at with everything. Obviously, I'm filling in a lot of these gaps because that's just what I want to have happen. We haven't heard him say anything like specifically around that. The GLP-1s was a good conversation because I agree with Bruce. Like, you don't know who's coming through your door. You don't know their story. You don't know what they've tried in the past. And to just kind of go this hard nose, like, that's a shortcut and you suck if you do this, or whatever the case may be, doesn't even go with the ethos of the professionalized trainer. The way that I see it is, if I had somebody who was 200 pounds obese walk through the door, would I start saying, oh man, your lifestyle has sucked. Like, you got to do hard shit now. We're cutting all this out. And they run away. And I would have zero effect on being able to help them make the lifestyle changes that are needed to get them to move towards health and away from sickness. And I view that the same way with these GLP-1s. Like, we need to become the source of truth for health and fitness, not the source of F you, you're either with us or against us. And so when somebody comes in and says, hey, I'm on these GLP-1s, like, here's what I'm doing, this is what it's got me started right now. Now I have influence to be like, okay, awesome. Well, I'm glad you took the first step to come through the door. Here's early onset of like some of these negative side effects that people are hearing about. This is what we could do to prevent, exactly, Ryan, the muscle and bone density loss, because that's something that's very real that we're going to have to work to combat against. Oh, and by the way, if you eat this way, this will also help aid the exercises that we're doing. And now that conversation starts to snowball in terms of making lifestyle changes. And so to just go right off the top and create a bunch of stuff vilifying that, or saying, hey, if you do this, it's some shortcut and you suck and all that, then you're completely alienating any of those people that would come through the door and that you could affect real positive lifestyle change on. And so it was good. It was cool to hear him like specifically talk about that. The other thing that was interesting is Chris told a personal story where he had this member who was like an all-star member, does all this stuff, super invested in the community, slowly brought her whole entire family, and her whole family's doing it. CrossFit completely changed her life. And early on, he had written this article about the gastric bypass surgery, like, essentially making your stomach smaller. And he vilified it in the article. And he was like, I don't agree with this, yada, yada, yada. Well, fast forward, that lady came to it and was like, Chris, this kind of really disappointed me. She was like, I got that surgery because I didn't see any other way out of the lifestyle I was living. And then after getting it, I had the confidence to come into here, and being in here and being in your gym has completely changed my life and my family's life. And he was like, wow, that was a real paradigm shift to what he was thinking before, which was kind of attacking some of those things rather than saying like, hey, if this is what it takes to get your first step to moving you towards health, like, come on in and we'll help you with that. We'll continue to give you the resources with that. So that was something that I thought was pretty cool. And also too, Cody, thank you. I did not forget about your firefighter question. So I will get back to that. The last piece I wanted to play here for you guys. Let's see. Which was also a clip that I posted and kind of chopped up on my Instagram because I thought it was important. It was important to think about if you're currently a CrossFit affiliate, and relates a lot to what I was talking about on last week's show, as far as like, hey, at this point, it's going to really take all of us to get on the same page with this education and training method, with the health conversation, with the fact that we are the local experts. Every single CrossFit affiliate should be and strive to be their local health and fitness expert in their area. And so I'll play this clip here, and then we'll get into this last part.
True blue affiliates who are still affiliated in the room, what's something that they should be doing in the next, 6 to 12 months that will help kind of regain the momentum of the brand again?
Yeah, first and foremost, be loud.
Be loud.
I mean, I think you have my email now, so you can email me. And a lot of people have, which is great. And I am serious about that. all that input is formative, and it helps me prioritize and figure out what we do. All the conversations I've had last night and today, I think that's number one. I touched on this before, but don't underestimate the power you have around your own media.
Yeah.
And I think your own messaging. A lot of times we feel like somebody else has to help me, and that is our job at HQ to do that. So I'm not saying it isn't, but we have 10,000 affiliates worldwide. If every one of them posted about that person once a week that was scared to come in and do CrossFit and came in and changed their life, it's 10,000 posts a week. It's 40,000 posts a month. And that's the collective power of the brand and all those individual stories. In my opinion, that's way more powerful than us driving media, although you put it together, I think it's super powerful. And we're doing some creative things around. So the message to answer your question is don't underestimate your own power and your team's power. It is one more thing to do, but I think it's also really important for your community. It shows you care about your community. And those messages get shared with friends and family and people that don't know it's for them. So I think it's really, really important.
Okay, so I want to leave it onto that portion there, because one of the things that Bruce had said is that collective power of all the voices in all the media is important. Here's one thing I would like to add to that is, unless CrossFit continues to push its North Star, or starts to, I shouldn't say continues because we haven't seen it yet, so don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but if CrossFit uses that education and starts to really plug some media around education and training as its North Star, and continues to champion the affiliates and what they do every single day at the top, in a level, in a way we have never seen done before, hopefully that inspires the affiliate owners to do the same thing, because that is really where the power of all of the media pushing in the same direction with the same message, like we kind of saw with the Forging Elite Fitness, or the CrossFit's the Cure campaign that Jenna put out earlier. I thought that actually had a pretty solid effect on utilizing the power of the media, with her being able to give everybody the chance to like download that, play it on their own, utilize all that stuff. Like that gave a really strong push. And something like that would have been really cool to come behind with like a new Treasure, the website focused around education, all of that other stuff. Unfortunately, when she had pushed that out, there wasn't like a lot of backing with that message anywhere else from CrossFit HQ at the time. But it still had a very positive effect. So I think that is a little breadcrumb of, hey, that style of stuff works. We just need to make sure the whole rest of the company is around that, and we give the people some place to land, because that's the most important part. Now, as far as it goes for gyms creating their individual media and stuff like that, that is, like Bruce said, it is one more thing for you guys to do, but it is important, and it's important for you and your gym to think about doing that. And of course, if you don't know how to do it, or you don't want to do it, or need help doing it, hit us up at gymcreatives.com. We are working on diligently a lot of marketing solutions for CrossFit affiliates. I'm utilizing and telling people everything that I've done in here that has been successful, as well as anybody else who contributes that has done stuff with media that has turned media into people showing up to the gym, and those people showing up and becoming clients. So the links are for Gym Creatives and for the school platform to get involved. They're both in the show link below. And finally here, I would like to say that it's only been 4 weeks or 5 weeks, and although I am very optimistic, we still need to start to see some action. And so when will we actually see action? When will we see the North Star of education and training shift from that conversation to actually things we could tangibly see? And that is what we will all be waiting on as we watch Bruce in his first 30 to 60 days here, as far as what that action looks like. Now, Cody, just to finish up here with the firefighters, I will say that if you go to the school platform, there's tons of me talking about this almost ad nauseum. But the main thing that I do with them is health assessments, where I do an in-body scan, a mobility assessment with them. We do a couple aerobic things to test their heart rate variability, stuff like that. So I think that if you want more like specific on it, just go into that school thing. You could even hit me up there or just search the firefighter partnership stuff. It is very tough to get into, but once you are in, you are in. And I've had my contract with Livermore Pleasanton Fire for about the last 7 years, training their academy. And I've had the one with Hayward with the whole entire department for about the last 5. So yeah, I've learned a lot from that. But I would say that just goes again to establishing yourself at the local health and fitness expert. Like if you can't come into any place, whether it be a corporation, whether it be a police department, a fire department, whether it be somebody walking in to figure out if CrossFit's right for them, if you can't have an intelligent conversation with them about how to package it to make sure that it's going to solve their problems, and it meaning CrossFit and the methodology that you teach and the way that you deliver it, you'll strike out. So first and foremost, make sure you're packaging to the people that you're talking to, because that's super important. But yeah, go to the school platform. You can get a lot more information in there. And now that was it. Try to roll through that whole thing. I ate into like 30 minutes of Peter's time with James Hobart. So do me a huge favor. Do me a big favor. If you guys leave this video and go over there, it strokes my ego so hard if you say that I sent you over there. I'll see you guys in the comment section, because I'm going to go over there and watch it as well. Later on today, in just a few short minutes, we will be having somebody live trying to qualify for the CrossFit Games. This individual was nice enough to let us stream them live during the workout. So I'll be back on with Sevon. I think Taylor will be on that show as well, in The Athlete. Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate everybody listening. I'm looking forward to see what Bruce does in the future. Go over, say what's up to Hobart, say what's up to Peter, tell him I sent you. And as always, be good to each other out there, guys. We'll see you next time.
I'm ready, and we'll be back with the starting lineup for tonight's game between DePaul and Wisconsin in just a moment.
Oh, I'm so frustrated trying to think of something to post on my gym social media account. Wait, you're not seriously posting your own content that you make yourself through Canva, are you? Yeah, I am. Is there another way? Oh, you gotta check out Gym Creatives. Visit gymcreatives.com. Gymcreatives.com? Yeah, Gym Creatives. They handle Instagram posts, they handle YouTube thumbnails, reviews, testimonials, and now they've even got auto posting. Auto posting? What's that? That's right, auto posting. They'll send 36 creatives direct into your inbox, but it's gonna have your gym, your members, your messaging, your logo, all just prepared for you, ready to go. That's 9 per week. Exactly, 9 per week. And all I have to do to get this is visit gymcreatives.com. Yeah, gymcreatives.com. Visit today. gymcreatives.com.